There be light, and there was light. Words of the said Godmother Eve. Welcome, I am Crimey Queen. This is where we have fun with words and numbers. Numerology to be precise. Of course, we are actualizing self-love with the use of scriptural references from the King James Holy Bible. Okay, let me make myself a little bit comfortable here. All right, so if you're joining us for the first time, of course, I would urge that you watch our introduction to Crimey Queen YouTube channel on 2018. Okay, if you could just tap in introduction to Crimey Queen, I think that would come up. So I'm wanting to carry on from where we left off, which is about 3 weeks ago, perhaps longer, on finding the pattern. We had talked about the pattern in the numbers of the gods of Genesis. We have spoken a lot about the 14 gods, 9 gods in Genesis of chapter 1 and 5 gods in Genesis chapter 2. We have also seen how the gods of Genesis of chapter 2 here have tallied, we could say, or paired up with the gods of Genesis chapter 1. Hence, we have like overall 9 entries. Now, when we say 9 entries, it's like, of course, you could see the numbers here of the gods. And with Genesis chapter 2 here, we have these gods, the 5 gods, the ended God, the caused God, the formed God, the breathed God, and the planted God. I love the planted God somehow. I think that's to do with my birth sign of being an earth sign. I do like the soul. Okay, but there is so much more that I love anyway. Okay, so, but we see that the breathed God and the planted God both have numerical values of 9. What I really want to talk about here is, which I might have mentioned before, and I believe I have, but I want to emphasize this point because I think it's important, and I think it is something that we will have to be revisiting or reviewing as we go along, the significance or symbol of that which I am about to discuss. It's that when we did the numerical value for the first 9 gods, meaning the created God to the blessed God here, we did the numerical values for them, and we found out that we had all the numbers, for instance, numbers 1 to 9, excluding the number 4. The number 4, of course, is not inclusive here. None of the gods here really made up to number 4. Now, there are 2 reasons I believe that could be why it is so, is that the created God, for instance, number 2, we see when we write the numerical value for the word 2, which equals 13, 13, of course, comes under the column of number 2. Not only that, it comes under the column of number 2, but it equals 4. That's the main point I want to make. It equals 4, and let's, of course, because 1 plus 3 equals 4. Now, I'm believing that it is done deliberately or divinely, is a D anyway. D, of course, equals 4. The letter D equals 4. But I'm believing that it's divinely done this way to grab our attention, not only grab our attention to that discrepancy, if we can even call it that, or perfection rather, but because we are using the word D, because here we are about words, having fun with words. So let's say that this discrepancy here of 4 being a miss in this here. So we could also say that the number 4 is, which is foundation, is meant to, we are already participants of that foundation. Our process of growth and development in the template, the sacrifice template, requires us to be 4. Our process in the template, the sacrifice template, requires us to be 4. I like that. The word like before and to be 4. It'd be interesting to just explore that. Let us just see, just for the sake of having a bit of fun here. Okay. But the point I am making is that we need to go through the developmental stage on the sacrifice template. Unless we do that, we are not able to recognize Mother Eve. So before I even do this, let's show you on here. So 4, and here again we have indicated 4 on this template, and intuitively we have done this because we recognize that the developmental stage requires us to get our orientation of our north, our south, our east, and our west. Right here, that's what the D is about. Of course, it's DVM, and we call it development. Of course, like we have words for each of these columns. We have the jazz here. This is a J here, sorry. The jazz stage, the bucket stage, the bucket or the basket stage, which is number 2. This is where we form agreements. So, of course, this is why everything is done around food. We have the story of Mother Eve, which is also around food. So food is central in this developmental stage. And we see that that is also central in the sacrifice of Jesus Christ. We talk about the number 2. And of course, number 2, and I believe the sacrifice itself, or the Last Supper, which is what the sacrifice template has been derived from, is really giving us a concise illustration of what I want to say, because it was 13 at the table at the Last Supper, Christ and the 12 disciples. Of course, wasn't the Last Supper indicative of a new era, a new stage, a new process, a new life, we could say? So that in itself is telling us perhaps the reason why the number 4 is not inclusive in any of the numerical values of the gods is because that is the number or secret symbol we are meant to morph ourselves in. We are meant to merge ourselves into the realization of that number, that which we are. We are 4. Now, I always say that we are 5. Of course, we are 5. We are Mother Eve. Now, but Mother Eve, here we could say, the masculine and the feminine. Now, I did this before in other presentations. I'm not sure, even then, whether I really captured the essence of this vibration or illustration that I want to say. So there are 2 things we are talking about. Of course, I wanted to talk about the number 4. I also wanted to, there was the word that I really wanted to, but let's hang on to this word for the illustration here of why we are meant to be 4. Oh, please pen, I'm talking to the pen right now. Please write. Okay, Let's try this one here. So we are 4, meaning we need to get our foundation, our orientation. So when we are 4, we have our north, our south, our east, and our west. So when we are 5, we are really north. We could say north as well if we wanted to, but I prefer to say we are the 5-pointed star here. So it's no wonder we are always looking up at the stars as well. So we could say that this is we look up to the stars to get our orientation. That could be a nice way of looking at it. So we are the 5-pointed star, which is north, south. Okay, let's do this properly. Okay, the 2 arms here and our 2 legs here. Okay, now why have we got 1 leg here? We could see that that is the motion that Christ took on board with the sacrifice. We can see that. So there were 2 legs, we could say, from the waist. Of course, the waist would be here, and the legs would be one above on top the other. So there was 1 nail, we saw that. And of course, we saw the arms, Christ's arms on either side. So this is what we are talking about. The north, the south, the east, and the west. Now, of course, here we are in motion. That's what Mother Eve was about, eating of the fruit. That's why the word mouth equals 5, because with 5 we are alive. This is what Mother Eve is. The word alive has in it lie as well. So there we could say you are in a lying position. Of course, we see that in when people are in a coffin as well. They are just still they're in this lying position. I don't know why I said coffin, because I think I've been talking about this dream that I saw my coffin. So yeah, but here we have learned to embrace all of life, whether it were coffin or whether it were a tree or whether it was the snake or whether it's the serpent. We are understanding that everything has a form of life in it, and so we just are. Okay, all right. The word A-R-E, that would be 15. Of course, 1 plus 5 is 6. Why I say we just are in the middle of the template here, of the sacrifice template. This equals 15. So we are new, under the new column, which is also men upside down. Okay, so here I am also saying that we have 4 points here, and we also have 5 points here. So that also tells us if we add 4 plus 5, that gives us 9. So we can see how the gods, of course, like I've also mentioned, that the gods have put their logos on our bodies. We have 9 external circles to our bodies. Of course, there's a secret that the female has a hidden circle, a hidden circle, or a circle in a circle, however we want to put it. But that is the gods really having their mark upon us, that we can identify the gods in us. So basically, there where we have these 4 points, for instance, this is like an external representation, or it's really when we are in this submissive stage, like Christ was on the cross, but he did have really 2 feet. So basically, the 2 feet was one above the other, but that would mean 5 plus 5 would be 10, male and female, if we were to look at these two in this way. But that's not how we have it with the gods. Of course, we could say that the hidden circle that the gods have left in the female, for instance, that is where we go back into the new cycle, the new 0, the new 1, or whatever new era that we are faced with. Now, there was another point, of course, that I was wanting to make with the words. I was hoping to do, but that has slipped my mind for now. I feel that it's really at the edge of memory lane, but nevertheless. Okay, but the point I felt that was more important to make is that, and looking at the time as well, what I felt was more important to focus on, it's the absence of the 4. As you can see, we have 1, 2, 3, and 4 is a miss, but we have 5, 6, 7. Now, it also is amazing how we have 5, 6, 7, and then, of course, we have 8. I was going to say we have 5, 6, 7 in a row. They seem to be a flow with 5, 6, and 7. And on the sacrifice template, because I've always had this notion that that's the crucial points that really matter. 5, 6, 7. This is where we are in the new stage. And of course, we are looking at 6 and 7. This is where the fox gets onto the gypsy journey, which is 7. As I say, if you are new to this, you can check out Crimey Queen's introduction. You will see how we have derived those words or terms to help us, not only help us memorize the numerical values to each letter or number, we could say, but it has also given us great depth and insight to the template or to the symbol of the sacrifice of Christ. Of course, it's over a year now we are using this sacrifice, and it's the sacrifice template, and it's helping us to understand the scriptures at depth and at length. Okay, now back to the number 4. There is another reason why we felt, as I say, I may be repeating this, but I feel that it's important to emphasize this point. Why 4? So this in itself is telling us of our what is required of us, and the significance of each cycle, or of each era or beginning of an era, or what happens when there's a new era. Basically, I feel the number 4 is giving us a secret, is conveying a deep secret that I had not noticed before. In fact, I thought that number 5 was all we really needed to know in this sense. Well, it's not just number 5, it's number 8, which equals the word et, and Mother Eve ate of the fruit. So there's lots. All the numbers have great significance, but let's concentrate on number 4. Now, if we talk about water, we see how Mother Eve is really alive in this water, and how Mother Eve is also alive in the number 4. Now, it makes me wonder, because I did wonder about why the word 4 also has the same, why does it hold the same numerical value as the word 5, which is 24, right here. So 24 equals 6. So basically we see that 5 equals 24. And if we do the numerical value for the word 4, Let's see. Have I got 4 on here? No, I haven't. FOUR. Let's do this here. 6, 6, 3, 3. So you can see this here. So here we have, this is 9 plus 6, 6, 3, 9. Sorry, 3, 9. Okay, so this is 9 and 9, 18, plus 6 is 24. 2 plus 4 is 6. So we can see that number 4 and number 5 has the same numerical value, exactly the same. So basically, Mother Eve is leading us, or is really showing her presence in number 4 as much as number 5, which I have been going on about, as Christ, as Eve, as Lock, as open, as pyramid, and so on. There are lots of very profound words, as kundalini, pineal gland, open, as I say, key, anchor. These are words that equals 5. But Mother Eve, of course, with 5 is also showing us how she becomes 6, as in the said God. We have identified her as the said God, which equals 6. Now, another reason why I want to be able to wrap up why I believe that the number 4 was a miss, it becomes transparent here as well. So we have already located the significance of number 13. So basically 13 is creation. We could say creation, but I call it the incubator, because even the word incubator, I have done the numerical value for the word incubator, it equals 13. So basically the incubator is what contains everything. It's like a cell, and that's what it was with the sacrifice. Now, if that was what it was as the sacrifice of Christ, before Christ being crucified on the cross, but with the being at the table with his 12 disciples, we see the vibration or the essence of this ceremony was there, which equals 4. We see that now that was really a foundation. Christ was setting a foundation in which we are to follow. We see Christianity follow these teachings of Christ as the Savior. And of course, I don't know about whether there is any rituals of having 13, the number 13 in that way, but the energy of this particular ritual has been passed on, in the sense of the washing of the feet and having the communion with their communions being held. I don't know how often. It'd be interesting to know. Could it be every 13 weeks, for instance? Or could it be every 13 of the month, or something to that effect? We don't know. Okay, I suppose we could know. And maybe they are all not doing this very same thing in the same way. Okay, but what happened here is that there's the secret of number 4. When we calculate all the word form, the vibration, the numerical value of each word form of these gods, of the 9 gods, we can see that we have, for 2, as I've mentioned, 13. For 5, we have 6. For 7, for 6, we have 7. 7, we have 2. And then we have another pattern. This is what gives me such insight that I really want to grab the essence of that message. So much that it almost frightens me, because I feel that what I'm going to embark on is so delicious. But perhaps I was celebrating prematurely, and my throat is really wanting to be healed for that which I have to digest. So there we have, there's 2764 again. So we have 4672, and it's like it's giving us a mirror aspect of 2764. That tells us that there are things happening in cycles. Also, it means that that cycle, in the form of the gods here, the cycle of when Mother Eve says, let us make man in our image after our likeness, this is not going in the direct cycle as we have listed here from Genesis of chapter 1. Something is happening in a reverse manner. And that's why as well, Mother Eve has given us the insight here that the very first God in this cycle that we are merging into or morphing ourselves into is really the called God. The called God is one. Of course, this one here, when we do the numerical value for 1, it equals 7. So we can see we are more or less moving into this cycle here again. This 7 here coincides with the end of the 7,000-year cycle, and it also coincides with the 7-year of Uranus being in Taurus. There is so much going on here with Taurus, of course, the earth sign. And of course, Taurus also equals 10, which coincides with the illustration that I made with the male and female. Of course, we see where 9 was showing. So 9 shows the 9 gods there, but we see the male and female, where's the hidden. There's the hidden aspect here. So of the two foot being one upon each other. So in my illustration of, or I have rubbed it off, of the male and female, or Christ on the cross, meaning or being in that submissive position, and also being the 5-pointed star. So we have done this and added all this together. I have done this, and this is on my last presentation that ends with the DDD. Of course, the one that follows that presentation is, it was my warm-up. I would call it my warm-up session. I am sweating here. It's a hot summer's day. And talking about warming up, just brought my this is bringing my temperature to the present. But we added all this together, and it comes to 40. So we can see why 40 was so symbolic with Christ. It was important that Christ spent 40 days and 40 nights praying. So because that number 4 had to be realized by Christ to be able to take that position on the cross. Now, I am smiling because I had not fully understood the significance of 40. But if you watch my presentation on how to activate your Kundalini, it's not how to activate, only activate your Kundalini if you want to meet with Mother Eve. That's the video that I did. And of course, to prepare, this is where I talk about my own preparation of to activate my Kundalini. I really had a sort of fast for 40 days, but it was a ritual of sacred baths that I took with 9 oils, 9 different oils. So there, I did this intuitively. I had not embarked on these gods. I had not embarked. If it's only through doing these exercises here and the template that I discovered that we have of 14 gods. Of course, the 14 gods have consolidated in this. They're still 14 gods, but they have consolidated in the 9 gods. But not only that, we have 9 gods in Genesis of chapter 1. So the number 9 was the number of birthing, 9 months in the womb, and 9 is really new beginning and a new beginning. The word beginning, this is the thing we always hear, or 9 is the ending. It's really the beginning. And when we do the numerical value for the word beginning, it equals 9. But the beginning has the end in it at the center of it. Just like to say, for instance, that in the middle of the fruit, you find the seed, you find the pip in the center. And that's where so we eat the flesh of the fruit, for instance, we have the seeds to plant and to bring a new lease of life. That's what I did. And of course, I had a very profound experience in activating my Kundalini. That's what it was for Christ. Fasting for 40 days and 40 nights, or praying 40 days and 40 nights. And we know about days. Actually, the word days and nights also equals 4H, if I remember clearly. So I'm looking at the clock, the timer. So the word days, this is the story of Christ. So the word days is here, 4171. Adding this together, this is 8 plus 4 is 12 plus 1 is 13. That's what Christ was about. People who are just looking at the story, I believe that the numbers, the numerical vibrations are giving us more depth to the meaning and significance of the whole story or our existence, for instance. What does this 13 mean? There is the days were there. When the days are consolidated, of course, when you have mastered whatever it is you want to learn in that 40 days, there was Christ bonding. He was creating a bond right there. It is the bee word, the beehive, the breath, the bread. Again, there's the word bread. Bread equals 3, of course. And that's why God broke, or Christ broke off the bread. And the breast, that's why we feed the babies with the breast on the breast. There is so much that we need to be discovering. Now, the word night, N-I-G-H-T, I believe is 31. Let's do this. 9, 7, 8, 2. Let's add this. This is 10. This is 26 plus 5 is 20. Is 31. Rightly so. 3 plus 1 is 4. That's so basically, I had not understood that 4 is really so important, that 4 is really a hidden number. I had not understood this before. So now we have this here. Christ fasted 40 days, 40 nights. We hear of the children of Israel going through on their journey for 40 years. Now, I believe I may have spelled 40 wrong in some of my videos. Forgive me. But let's look at the word years, for instance. Again, Y-E-A-R-S. And it's got S in there. It's like ready to tell us that we need to listen. Like, listen. Let's get this come. 19157. Let's add this up, which is 10, 17, 18, 19, 23. So that is 5 years, and 40 is F-O-R-T-Y. Okay, which I used to spell F-O-U-R-T-Y. So forgive me if you come across some of that in my videos. So here we have, this is 15, and this is 15, plus 6 is 21. Of course, 21 plus 9 is 30. 30 plus 5 would be 35. 35. Of course, 35, this is the trick here now. 33 plus 5 is 8. This is the trick here. Now, don't know why it's like this in some cases, but when we do the numerical value for the word 8, it equals 4. Because I believe I understand why. E-I-G-H-T, which is 59782. This is 10, this is 26. Of course, plus 5 is 31. 3 plus 1, of course, we see it's the mirror image of 13. It's the reverse to 13. So 31 is the mirror, is the reverse number to 13. So basically, here, when we say that the children of Israel, of course, they were 40 years in the desert. So 40 years is 4. That really, the story itself has given us an indication why we are taking it, or we have taken a long route to understand that that simply meant 4 as well, because we have got lost into the drama of the story. The story have given us so many angles, and of course in the numerical calculation, as I have done, likewise has given us a bit of drama. It didn't just give us the 40 years as a simple 31 equation. We had to go through for 40 years. We had to do the vibration and recalculate the number 8 as in the word form to find the number 4 again. But that meant, that in itself was telling us that the children of Israel with 40 years, and we ended up with the word or number 8, E-I-G-H-T. That in itself is telling us that this is the very same stage we are at right now in the new era, where Mother Eve says on her last entry, which is the eighth entry in Genesis of chapter 1, where she says, let us make man in our image after our likeness. People, I hope we are getting the essence of this. I hope we are understanding that we need to be 4. It's no wonder why I believe we have the word before so saturated in our vocabulary. every time it seems like we are programmed to say the word before so often that hoping we get it before. When we hear that we need to do something before, it is really a message telling us to be for. Yes, the language has played with our intelligence, but I don't think it's by chance. I think there is the divine intelligence knows that nothing is really above our understanding. Nothing in this realm is really above our our capacity to understand. May I say that? Because it has taken us a long time to really understand it. This is really very delicious, and I'm sort of savoring this. So Mother Eve had the 8th entry. I am just really wishing that I had the list with me to show you, but it's on a big board that but I also have many presentations that I have done this reference. So basically this is on 41 minutes, and I really want to capture, I want you to capture the essence of that. In Genesis of chapter 1, Mother Eve had these 8 lettings. The 8 lettings is like an estate agent. It's like, you could say, property manager, whatever it is, or someone who delegates, and she had all this, and she says, let there be light. They will really contracts, and this is why the word con or boa constrictor rather, boa constrictor. So we have these con words in the serpents, in snakes, because there is some wisdom that is necessary for us to unwrap in our minds, in our bodies, by activating our kundalini. So I want you to really get from this that there were these 8 lettings that coincides with the 8 that we got from Genesis, the Exodus, with the children of Israel, and the 40 years in the desert, and Christ, of course. And I think there was a 40 something with Job as well. But anytime we come across this 4, anytime now you hear the word before, there is a sacred message asking you to be for, to be conscious of that 4 which is hidden right here in this. And that's why we have this 40 right there. I hope you can get the essence of this. We have all the gods here, added them together becomes 40. This is the 4 we are meant to recognize ourselves as. And of course, we can see from the list here that we begin with 4 right there, because that's the 2. And we end with a total of 4 right here when we add all the gods. I'm trying to take it easy on my voice, but I think Mother Eve really wanted me to bring this out. And I hope you have enjoyed this. I hope you get the essence of this, because it truly is very delicious. I know I had not covered the patterns of the mirror, but we will do this in another presentation. Yes, just to confirm that we are going through a cycle. Thank you for watching. Stay ignited. Remember, we are planting new seeds. So when we say the word before, remember we are planting the foundation. For its foundation, let's before. Yes.